The What to Read Next podcast helps you build a TBR of future favorite books. In each episode, Laura and Mean interviews authors and book influencers to recommend books they loved for you to pick up today. If you're an avid reader, always looking for your next great read, then the show's for you. Hi, Dani. Welcome to What to Read Next podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me, Laura.
So happy to have you here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, so I am Dani Sanchez. I am the owner of Wildfire Marketing. And what we do is we help authors, romance authors. We are business and marketing consulting and help authors just navigate and promoting their books and getting it out there to readers, whether it's helping come up with a digital marketing plan through, TikTok and Instagram and Facebook or whatever else, helping with ads, helping just get out there with vendors like Amazon and Apple Books. That's, kind of what we do.
So how did you get involved in this business?
So I actually have been in marketing pretty much my whole career. I was in corporate IT marketing, which I knew nothing about IT. I was in IT for about 11 years prior to this. Pretty much doing the same thing with, they focused on small businesses. And I got into it actually blogging with some friends. So I was a blogger to begin with. And my blog kind of grew, knew some people, actually worked with a different company prior to this. And then I just decided, you know what, I had kind of a different mind on where I wanted to go. Instead of, I think that company was more geared towards more promo. And I kind of wanted to do more business consulting. And just kind of a little bit different idea on where I wanted to go with it. And so then I started my own company. I've been in the book world for about 10 years now. So that's I just kind of stumbled upon it from just blogging on my own with friends.
Oh my gosh. And the book world has exploded, especially the romance world has exploded since for the past 10 years. We've seen trends, but it's a business that's going to stay, that's here to stay.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a ton of trends, right? Like I've seen it where it exploded, kind of where it's gone down, where it's exploded again. There are just different types of trends. I always tell clients whenever there's a down cycle, I'm like, okay, reading is it's kind of like a roller coaster. Everybody's always going to have, there's always going to be books. Everybody's always going to read. And some readers will always stay. Some readers will come and go. Some readers will come and then go and never come back. But books they're kind of like a necessity. There's always going to be readers and people are always going to read. So. Yeah.
All right. So, you work with influencers in terms of promoting in different places, there are different stuff. So how do, regular readers, maybe like reviewers who may be interested in promoting some of these authors that you represent, how can they work with you?
So really simple. You can go to our website. We have a lot of different ways, but you can go to our website. It's just wildfiremarketingsolutions.com. We have a tab that's an influencer tab. And you can sign up to get our newsletter, which has every opening of all of our clients. So you can do that. And you'll get a newsletter of every single event that we have that's coming up, of all the new releases. We have a master newsletter list also that you'll get just kind of promo material of any kind of sale, teaser, that kind of thing, both on our Instagram and our TikTok. We also have links on the top for Instagram and our book talk and Bookstagrammer teams. And we also send things to those as well. And then we have a Facebook group for bloggers. So or for anybody that's on there. So we have a lot of different ways where we try to connect with our influencers to get the materials that they need.
I love this. All right. So now let's get to the meat and why we're here. Tell us what some of the upcoming releases that we should be on the lookout for.
Okay. Wow. There's a ton, right? So, I one that I've been super, super excited for is actually by Louise Bay. So it's Dr. Off Limits. I've been telling everybody, if you are a huge fan of Grey's Anatomy and liked the whole Meredith, Derek vibe and how they met, this is so very much like it. Like, she meets him on a blind date, and then she is his resident the next day. So very much that vibe. I'm looking forward to it so much. That's totally one. I finished the arc of Just One Kiss last night by Carly Phillips. Yeah. Literally could not put it down. I sat down, was like, okay, I'm going to read some of it. Let me get up to go do whatever. The next thing I know, I finished it. So really good. K.A. Lindy has a standalone that's coming out called Second to None. I highly encourage everybody, if you've never read her, if you've read it before, it is, at the end of it, my jaw just dropped. It is very Taryn Fisher-y. No.
Oh my gosh, now I need to have this.
so good. And on that, so is Here Lies North by Ava Harrison. Very, very different than anything she's ever written. Also coming out really soon. It's very more of a romantic thriller. Again, has those vibes of a Taryn Fisher book where you're just left reeling at the end of it. So those are some books I'm super excited for. I mean, there's always kind of some other ones. Tracy Lorraine has her Dark trilogy where it's, obviously a trilogy that has, literally I'm in the middle of it now, and I am reading the second one before bloggers are, and they're going to lose their mind. They lost their mind over the first one. They're going to lose their mind over the second one. So I always have to prepare for those. Right. So I'm like, yeah. So there's things like that. So those are the books that I think coming up. Obviously I have some that I'm looking forward to that I can't wait that clients haven't finished yet. So, I'm looking forward to Miss Notes by L.A. Cotton. So I don't have that yet. So yeah, there's that. And then, so that's it. There's a new one that's coming up that hasn't been announced yet by Aletha Romig. So it's a brand new series that's coming out at the beginning of next year. So it's kind of it's a suspense royals type book. So yeah, really looking forward to all of that.
Oh my gosh, I love this. So let's talk about some hidden gems, because you any authors you're like, you should give them more love, you should definitely discover, you should definitely give them a try,
Yeah, so I don't think a lot of people, I think her name is out there, right? And I don't think a lot of people read. I know people know the name, but I feel like a lot of people don't read her enough. But I think Layla Hagen is one of those people that I feel like she's known, but I feel like a lot of people don't realize that she's one of those just like amazing authors, right? I think she's a great hidden gem just because she does family saga really well. She's really swoony and sexy. I think Gina Ozzie is another one. She does hockey romance really, really well. I wish more people would totally get into her. Jigs Croy is another one. She is literally, when I get a book from her, she writes small town romance set in Alaska that is just so tropey, so swoony, that I'm just like, literally, when she sends it to me, I'm one of those people that are like, okay, I have to have this now. I think those are some like really big hidden gem people that I kind of wish more people would read. Kate Nolan, I think, is another one. She she writes these she heroes. So none of her heroines are none of them are kind of weak or meek, or they're all very just strong and sassy. And I really, really like that about her. I think those are kind of some hidden gem people that I love. All of their audios are absolutely amazing. Oh. So there's that as well. So yeah, I mean, definitely. Gosh, there's so many people. Like Maria Lewis is another one. Mm-hmm. If people haven't dove into her, she has a trilogy that's out. A New King is probably another one that's, it's been a year in the making that I can't wait to read. So yeah, I think when people look for hidden gems, like I think there's some people that are like, oh, I've read her. And then there's some people who are like, oh, wow. You can come up with a name like, Natasha Madison, and they're like, oh, I've never read her before. So I think what somebody thinks is an amazing author can always be a hidden gem to somebody else. Mm-hmm. It's just finding out who writes that, that type of book, where I think, M. Robinson does angst super, super well. And can be a hidden gem to somebody who maybe didn't know who she was, who loves angst, right? But if somebody who doesn't like angst, she's probably not the fit for her. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, I think the beauty of it is like we discover authors a lot of time thanks to the Amazon algorithm, where it's like, if you like this, try it, and then you start hitting down the rabbit hole. Because that's how I ended up like discovering. I did buy a Layla Hagen book yesterday because I was like, oh, it looks good. Like it's like sometimes you just go, you're like, and then you realize you're like, oh my gosh, where was this in my life? I need this all the time,
Totally. That's that. If you like this, our link, or that whole scroll has gotten me into so much trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like so much trouble. And like in some ways, like I'm grateful for this podcast because I get to ask other experts to give me recommendations. But it's like how to make sense. Like you got to figure out what your taste looks like, and then you're like, oh, if I like this, then I tried this. If I like this, then I tried this. And so I like talking to people like you who have experience in different areas and romance, and be like, hey, this author will be perfect for you if you like this part. If you like hockey, here's another hockey romance.
I think that's what it is, right? It's finding either the tropes or the genres, and stuff like that. I think, yeah, because if you love new adult, it's finding those right picks, right? So maybe not everybody has read Saffron Kit, but everybody has read Megan Brandy, or maybe it's the other way around, or maybe not everybody has read Sarah Nye, right? Or if you're looking for Forbidden, the same thing. Maybe everybody has read Sarah Kate, but maybe not everybody has read Saffron Kent. Or if you're like you're looking for billionaires. Okay, so yeah, Louise Bay is known for billionaires, but did you know S.L. Scott also does it? But that's what's great about not necessarily the scroll on Amazon, but also just kind of word of mouth. And I think where Facebook used to be really good about that, with when you had groups and that connection. And now it's kind of a little bit different, where it doesn't really have that algorithm anymore. And you've kind of lost that, where podcasts are great and TikTok is great for that now. But it's definitely finding those authors, or maybe you knew about that author and heard about him, or maybe even you picked up a free book from that author. And then you hear the name again and you're like, scrolling through your phone and like, oh my gosh, okay, yeah, I had a book by that person.
Yeah, or it looks good. Then I go, Past Self bought it already.
Yeah, I've already bought
it. Way to go, Past Self. I did it already.
Pat on the back.
Yeah,
exactly.
That happens more often than not, where I'm like, oh, I bought this book already. Like
same here. Like I'll see, okay, and here's a great thing with ads, right? So ads do work. I saw an ad the other day and I'm like, wow, this looks good. Like, okay, I read a little excerpt and I clicked on it and it was like already owns, like, or I think downloaded it, whatever it is, in your Kindle library or something. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's move this back up to the top.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's how to make sense of like how to actually like, okay, what needs to be on the top right now?
Yeah. Hard on my end, just because I have to read so many client books as well. So I try to reward myself. I'm like, okay, all right, I've read 3 or 4 of my client books. Okay, now I'm going to go read a Kay Bromberg book that I've been wanting to read. Not saying that I don't love my client books, which I do, they really do, but sometimes I'm like, okay, I have to reward myself too with a much anticipated author.
Yeah, I think it's like it's totally makes sense. It's like you read for the work and then you're like, okay, I need a reward, reward reading. Just another like spice it up, So awesome.
Yeah. Even myself, like I listen to audio also. And I go way off and I'm listening to the David Grohl audiobooks. Definitely totally different.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome. Well, Dani, tell us where you can find you online.
So you can find us at Wildfire Marketing or wildfiremarketingsolutions.com. So that's the website. All of our links to any of Facebook, Instagram, TikTok is all on there. You can definitely find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. We're on all of those as well. So you can do that. You can find me personally on all of those as well. I don't post on TikTok. I post on our Wildfire TikTok, but yeah. So yeah, that's where you can find us.
Awesome. Thank you, Dani, for being on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
If you enjoyed this podcast, feel free to share with friends, subscribe, rate, and review the show. This is the easiest way to support the podcast. For a list of books mentioned and other romance recommendations, please visit watchrenextblog.com. Did you know you can purchase audiobooks directly from your favorite local bookstore? With Libra.fm, you can pick up more than 250,000 audiobooks, including bestsellers and recommendations from real booksellers. You'll get the same audiobooks at the same price as the largest audiobook company, you know the name, but you'll be part of a different story, one that supports the local community. If you're new to audiobooks, they're the perfect way to squeeze more reading into your busy life. Listen with the free Libra.fm app while you do your chores, walk the dog, relax at home. If you already love audiobooks and don't know what to listen next, check out recommendations from people who know the best booksellers. The What to Read Next podcast has a special offer for our listeners. Get 2 audiobooks on Libra.fm for the price of 1 with your first month membership. Use code WhatToReadNext. The offer is valid only for new members in Canada and the US. The What to Read Next podcast is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. Please visit frolic.media/podcast to discover new shows to tune in. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.